Hey guys, Wadsm here. Today I want to talk about how certain specials introduced in Splatoon 3 could end up ruining the game and suck up, pun intended, all the fun for most players. Special weapons or ultimates, how they are called in other games, can make or break a game and are some of the most important things to get right in a PvP multiplayer game. While I see the overall special design in Splatoon 3 as a big step up from previous games, just one or two specials out of the line, out of all of the 15, can end up breaking the game. I will talk in detail about the specials that I think could break the game, namely the ink vac, the Tacticooler, the big bubbler, and of course the Tenta Missiles. Coincidence or not, they are all supportive specials, but I will go into what that means as well, and also in the end I will rank all the specials in the tier list. If you enjoy the content, please consider to subscribe. So let's not waste any more time and let's jump right into it, shall we? Support specials focus more on protecting or buffing your teammates, painting and creating or contesting space, while aggressive specials focus more on getting direct splats. As someone who enjoys playing support a lot, I'm looking forward to the unique new support specials being added in Splatoon 3, but from judging the gameplay, a lot of top players, and me included, are putting most of the support specials on top of our tier lists. Top competitive players mostly have the best understanding of the game on a gameplay level, so I took a look at the opinions of some American and European champions, and I'm gonna throw my opinion as a wise world champion of Splatoon 2 in the mix as well here. If we look back at the most broken specials from previous games, we look back at something like Kraken or Bubbler for Splatoon 1, both being invincibility specials protecting you from dying, and missiles and armor for Splatoon 2, both universal specials, which means you can pop them anywhere on the map and they affect everyone, plus they both were support specials as well. The first two Splatoon 3 specials I want to talk about shared most of these characteristics, the ink vac and the big bubbler. Let's start with the ink vac. While it doesn't give you straight invincibility, the special still sucks up any type of damage, whether from the main weapon or from a sub weapon, and literally makes them disappear. If damage comes at you from only one direction, you're basically untouchable. And if you just hover over a teammate, he will be protected from all sides. It's nice that there's some skill involved, that you need to read the game to know where there's certain dangers coming from, and perfectly shielding your teammate won't be an easy thing, but Splatoon players so far are not used to their shots just disappearing in thin air, not being able to reach their targets. I can see a lot of frustration coming from players playing against this special, and while I think that its special design is brilliant, since you actually need skill to pull it off, not to mention the final skill shot you can take with the special, I can still see it creating a very toxic and unfun meta to play around, especially paired with the next special. The big bubbler is essentially a big ass shield, tanking a certain amount of damage. While I think the ink vac will be stronger than this special, you can't underestimate the value it brings to a team. You can really fortify a certain position you want to hold and be safe. If you get pushed, just step in and out of the shield to keep the opponent on the opposite side, to always stay safe from him. Now imagine a team running both ink vac and big bubbler. Want to push the tower? Place your big bubbler to get the checkpoint, after that defend it with an inkjet until you reach the next checkpoint, and in the meantime get another big bubbler to hence and repeat. Wanna escort the Rainmaker? Do the same thing. Opponents want to take the zone? Just suck up all the ink and place a big bubbler on the zone. GG's, we got them guys. Drop a Tenta in the mix for some extra tankiness and you have a team comp where all your opponents can do is to shoot shields and their shots just get sucked up all the time. Other multiplayer shooters like Overwatch had problems like these for a long time, where the game was full of barriers or abilities that sucked up damage, which was fun for no one because all you did was shooting at objects. While I welcome the inclusion of more support specials to the game, and while I think ink vac and big bubbler's special design is good, I can see them really creating a toxic playstyle if they both stay unchecked for a while. I hope the developers will react quickly and do something about it if combining these two turns out to be too strong. Another special I want to talk about is the Tacticooler. Nintendo revealed that one of the effects you get from grabbing a drink from it is shortening your respawn time, effectively giving you a quick respawn ability effect. This special could create the complete opposite of a slow shield heavy meta that I just talked about. Just put on all quick respawn, get your fast play slayer weapon like Tetra Duelist ready, wait for your support to drop the drink, rush the opponent and feed your brains out. You're gonna be back in no time anyway, so dying isn't that hurtful anymore. Getting an overall buff to each of your teammates is already a super strong special, especially for high level, coordinated play, but the quick respawn could really make this toxic. Splatoon 1 players will have flashbacks of the quick respawn, stealth jump zombie-like meta that plagued their game. While this can be fun, it gets incredibly toxic after a while, since all the strategy is just to rush with barely any consequences. Most of the time you would just get rolled over by squids on steroids, especially when paired with another special that I want to talk about, the Tenta Missiles, to have an additional couple of deadly rockets targeting you. I don't want to talk about Tenta Missiles too much. Jara did a whole video about the problems with the special already. It was already the strongest special for years in Splatoon 2, and now its best counter, Ink Armor, gets removed from the game. It's an universal special that targets anyone from anywhere, encourages staying away from a fight to lock on more people, guarantees to dislocate the whole enemy team anytime, scouts for you, helps you to rush opponents, is deadly, and most importantly, is spammable a lot, since you can start painting for a new one right after you fired one. This special alone creates an unfun way to play for both parties and needs a rework as soon as possible. From the brief footage we've seen, it's just as fast as before and still fires 60 missiles when targeting 4 people. People commonly suggest to limit the amount of players you can target to 3, adding the need to have your opponent's line of sight in order to take them down, or making the missiles have to land before you can start painting for some more. I'd like to throw into the ring that you could lower the amounts of missiles fired, for example only 2 per player, decreasing its fire rate so it takes longer and a greater commitment to fire, or removing letting you see the opponents through walls for a couple of seconds after you fired some, which is essentially an echolocator for a couple seconds that helps rushing your opponents a lot. This special alone is problematic, and paired with something like Tacticooler it can easily create a toxic zombie-like rush meta. While the concept of supportive specials is great and promote team play in the game, they can really ruin the fun for everyone when overtuned due to their passive yet oppressive nature. Aggressive specials, on the other hand, can make for some really stylish huge plays, popping off and killing the entire team with some sick shots and movement, promoting more individual play. Let me quickly rank all specials of Splatoon 3 into these 2 categories to give you an overview, and then rank all specials depending on how good I think they will end up being. And you will see that other top players and me end up ranking support specials significantly higher than aggressive specials. Alright, Killer Whaler would rank as both supportive and aggressive. You can damage and follow up on the Killer Whale by just rushing in, but it also dislocates the opponent and can be used from further away to get some use out of it. The Big Bubbler, obviously purely supportive, protects your team, you hold a certain area for a longer time. The Grab Tank, completely aggressive since it just dare to kill people. Obviously it can space as well with its long range, but it spaces by threatening them to kill them, so I put it at purely aggressive. Same for the Trizuka, just there to kill. Now the Inkvac, obviously completely supportive, is there to protect. It can shoot at the end, yes, this is a nice perk, so you could maybe put it at both, but it's really there for protecting your teammate and just sucking up damage and covering an area. The Zipcaster just helps you individually to get into a position to get a kill, so purely aggressive. The triple Ink Strike I would put at both because it can paint, it can relocate opponents, it can kill, you can follow up on the damage, so it's a nice mix of both, but it can be played supportive. Obviously the Tacticooler just buffs your teammates, so obviously supportive. The Reef Slider is there to get in, to get a big splash out, so yeah, obviously aggressive. The Wave Breaker I probably put as purely supportive because you set it up to hold a certain area. Yes, it can kill, it barely does any damage, but it marks your opponents, making it easier for you and your team to get these kills. Then the Stamp obviously is just there to kill. The Booyah is an interesting case. You can really stall with it, you can contest an area with it while holding. You can relocate opponents pretty quickly by throwing a Booyah somewhere where you don't want them to be. But it also can kill, it can help you finishing people off, and it can save your skin getting into aggressive positions, so yeah, this is both. The Rain, once more, yes, it can get splats, but it's there to just take control of an area and force people away, so supportive. The Missiles could be put in either purely supportive or just both, because at least how they were played in Splatoon 2, you could easily just follow up on missiles close range and just pressure them by having some missiles onto them and also seeing them through walls, so yeah, you can get some solo aggressive potential out of this, so I would put it at both. And obviously the Inkjet, once more, this is for killing. Yes, it can contest an area and just hold some space like that, but it is mostly for just getting kills. Okay, take a look at what is in which category, and we now come to my tier list at how good I think the special is gonna be in Splatoon 3. Alright, let's do this from bottom to top. First, the Zipcaster being put in D tier. The approach is pretty obvious, the landing can get camped pretty easily, and it just doesn't offer much else. So this is what I think would be the board special in the game early on. Next I would put Inkjet. Inkjet had troubles in Splatoon 2 as well. It loses armor, which it was paired with a lot, so it's gonna struggle even more. And it just doesn't do more than putting a blaster in your hand and giving you some vertical mobility. But you're pretty slow in a sitting duck while using inkjet, so one of the rather weaker specials in my mind as well. Next I would put the stamp. It was never the strongest in Splatoon 2 as well. You might still see if it still one-shots, but it has similar issues as the inkjet. Once you pop it, you're just way too easy to shut down. All you get out of it is getting maybe some kills, and it doesn't offer much more value. Maybe a little bit, since it's very scary at close range and you can throw it as well. So there's a bit of versatility. So I put it above inkjet here. Next, the rain. The rain is kinda solid, but it never saw much use in Splatoon 2. Yes, there's no counter to it, and it depends on the size how big it is. And it is kinda solid that it forces the opponents to slowly relocate from one position, but they can really do this pretty slowly and sometimes just wait it out because the damage is so low that I can't justify putting it higher right now from the footage we've seen. Next up, I have the Trisuka. A lot of people might put this one a bit lower. I think this one will have more use than the inkjet because of the insane burst potential of the paint that you can put onto a zone and just flip it in one instant. So that's some extra utility. Yes, it sucks that it can't paint below its feet, but I can see you making good double kills with it if you just put yourself in the right position, because the hitbox of it is still huge and the room for collaterals is just way bigger on this one. And also you're not exposed to your landing positions like inkjet afterwards, and you can actually stay in the aggressive position that you just opened up. Next, Crab Tank, 2 firing modes, but it doesn't do much more than killing. I think it's versatile having the 2 firing modes, but you're still kind of a sitting duck with it. But at least you don't need to put all of your effort into 3 shots. You can just continuously spam this one, which might be pretty good to just shut down certain areas. The Reef Slider next. It looks like an improved splashdown. You can choose when to explode it, so that's a big plus. I think for highly aggressive weapons to get into position fast, this will be great. Apply some pressure. So this is kind of a mid of the pack, especially for me right now. And to top the B tier list, I put the Killer Whale. The Killer Whale looks significantly weaker than Missiles and also than the Ink Strike. It serves similar purpose. It forces opponents out of a position. It does some damage. You can follow up on it by rushing. It's just, it doesn't really paint. And it's pretty hard to actually lock multiple targets, but still a very solid special. Next, the first in A tier, I picked the Booyah Bomb. The Booyah Bomb, while it doesn't seem to paint much, it still offers one great thing about it, and that's survivability. If you pop a Booyah Bomb, you can survive so much more and really stall and draw a lot of attention onto you. And it's still a great tool to just hold out, to really have the threat of a very big blast that's just gonna annihilate everything in its path at any time there if you just sit and hold it. And considering how strong it is on, for example, tower control to just clear off the tower in overtime, I feel like it's pretty strong. And if it's just gonna have a similar paint as before, it's also gonna be pretty strong on zones and turf as well to just get that extra paint in. Alright guys, if you see, we already have only supported specials left, and these are also classified as at least hybrids. So next we have the Wave Breaker, very solid special. It scouts for you, it can mark people, it can shut down an area, forcing people to show themselves by jumping over them, it can do damage. It is very versatile, and I can see this one being very situational in certain part of maps where it's just gonna be very strong to just put down. You just gotta learn about the maps and see where this one's gonna be good at. But just a little value that it adds with damage, with shutting down an area, with marking, that just adds up, making it a very solid special. Alright, next up we have the Triple Ink Strike. This one is an amazing special. It forces enemy to dislocate, it can easily kill, it paints decently enough. I can see it being used to shut down the tower in tower control, shutting down the Rainmaker path, just painting the zone, getting a sniper off snipe, and it's fairly quick and you can rush people afterwards. The only downside is that you need to get into the right position to throw them where you want to. That can expose you very early on, but you can still rush with your thrown ink strikes. So overall a very strong special. And to top the A tier, I put down the Big Butt Blob because, I mean, I talked about it in this video already. It just creates a fortress for your team. Yes, it can be shot down, but that requires a lot of attention and resources of the enemy team. And if it's unchecked, you're just gonna have this beacon that you can really fall back to all of the time. And in objective-based modes like zones, put it on the zone, put it on the tower, put it where the Rainmaker wants to push through, easy 20 points for the Rainmaker, put it around the basket to get those extra clans in. This thing is just so versatile in so many situations, it's just great. And now the last 3 left, hey, those are the ones I talked about already. Tacticooler. It does so much, it buffs your whole team. You run in, you get faster, quick respawn, amazing supportive special. So much use you can get out of that. You can just pair it with other specials, with an Inkjet or something, or like an Inksuka. This special can really put your team on the back. And it's just like a go sign that you should go in now. Next I put the Inkvec, the special I'm looking forward to the most. I already explained what it does and what makes it so great. It already sucks in the main weapons and also bomb sub-weapons. And I can see it also sucking in specials. If so, the special is just way too good, I don't know. And it having a skill shot at the end and a potential threat to turn the defense into offense really breaks this special into the S tier. And lastly, the Tenta Missiles. I just assume that it's the same as in Splatoon 3. If they're gonna nerf it, it obviously moves down a tier or 2. But what it does, just dislocating the whole enemy team, it does splash damage. You can use it from anywhere. You can spam it. You can locate and scout people with it. It just does way too much. It's just unfair. They really need to do something about this one. So it's down here or something. But then still, all the supportive specials on top. And here's a reminder. Are the tier lists of Kiver, European Champion, and Bagel, American Champion. It does look similar to mine, especially what they put in the general top and bottom. So yeah, that is my list. And that's it from me. What specials do you guys think could break the game or create a toxic meta that is unenjoyable for most players? What specials do you look forward to the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you wanna know what's changed on returning stages, I made a video about that you can find here. If you haven't already, please like, comment and subscribe for more content in the future. With that being said, have a good one, see you around guys, Wadsm out.